Today we're going to talk about closing. So a lot of people are saying closing is what you do at the end. Actually, it's not. Closing actually starts from the very beginning. If you do not start the sales process correctly, it doesn't matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to close. For example, before you go to the listing, you got to go to the appointment, you got to go send the pre-sale package. Before you go to the pre-sale package, you got to study the product, you got to study the customer. And then you're going to do the 3 steps, right? You got to do everything correctly so that the client will open up to you, the client will like you, the client will trust you. Then pretty much at the end, you do not need to close. So you just need to focus on the why. Why the client wants, for example, I'm helping a homeowner to sell the home. You want to focus on why the seller wants to sell. For example, if the seller wants to sell the property and go to be with his granddaughter, then you want to focus on that. So if you focus on that, if you share with the client, hey, no problem, I can get you done, I can get your home sold for the price you want, and so you can go meet with to stay with your granddaughter. You want to focus on that. When you focus on that, when the client the homeowner believes that you can really deliver to them what they need to get, then you do not even need to close. It's just gonna close by itself. Let's say if you really did not do a good job, if you really messed up, and if you try to close, what would you do? Let's say if you cannot close, what would you do? Ultimately, you still want to close, no matter what. Because, for example, let's say as real estate brokers, even if we get a really crappy deal, even the commission is really low, you still want to close, because if you close, at least you have a deal, right? At least you have a listing. So the focus is always to close, no matter what. So let's say if the client doesn't want to close, doesn't want to sign the document, what do you do? So there's a couple. The first one I shared with you in the last session, which is the assume closing. If you do everything correctly, you do not need hard closing. You can assume the closing. I just do a recap. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely you think you're gonna use our service? If they say 9 or 10, then you say okay. So and they're gonna ask you, so how the process work? Then you say, okay, here's how the process work. First, we finish the paperwork, and then we're gonna arrange for photo shoot. Then they're gonna then you ask them, when's a good time, today or tomorrow, to take a photo shoot. So everything is smoothly, right? So let's say so basically what I mean is, if you do it correctly in the beginning, you don't need the hard closing, but you want to make sure how you say it. For example, you don't say sign contract, you don't say the word sign, you don't say contract, you say okay the paperwork. So how you use the word is very important. And also you want to give them options, right? I'm not telling them, hey, can you do the Photoshop today? Can you do Photoshop tomorrow? You want to give them options. So let's say if you didn't do a good job on a sales presentation, and if they don't trust you, they don't believe you, and it's hard to close, what do you do? So here's a couple of things you can do. Okay, so you can remove any fear, right? Any risk, right? You say, don't worry, we can finish paperwork today, and if anytime if you don't sell anymore, you don't owe me anything. So that's one way, right? Another way is, let's say they say, okay, I want to wait until I talk to my spouse over first. You can say, that's okay. What if we okay the paperwork today, and anytime if then you can still talk to your spouse, and if you want to change, we can always make the change. Tentative close, right? And then let's say if they still don't want to close, because a lot of times people do not want to make a commitment, they don't want to put their name on some paperwork, right? Then you can say, another way you can make sure you close is you can tell them, hey, I have a cancellation guarantee right here. If you're worried about anything, I'll give you the cancellation guarantee right here. So you can close anytime you're not happy with anything that we talked about. If you think like everything I talked about today is crap, it's bullshit, then you already have the cancellation. You don't need to ask me for another cancellation. I'm gonna give you the cancellation right now. So basically, you're moving all their risk in their mind. You know what I mean? Okay, so there's many closing you can study online. So basically, what I'm saying is, don't focus on the closing. You want to focus in the beginning to do every step correctly. You want to focus on figure out why, the personality. That's what's most important.